You don't know how hard it is. Da, da. You talking to a kid who's always the water never turned off, the electricity and everything. My little brother be like, I don't care. like he straight up, he's like, you're telling me all this suffering and pain. He's like, I'm sorry, but that's not me. So it's like,
God.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 18 of the O2 podcast.
Oh,
Yes, folks, as you guys can see, we run a three-man show today. Shakir just recently took a little vacation. Brothers in love, so he said he needed off to recover from his
you
activity.
know what? I'm hosting a spelling bee today.
No, we're not doing that. We're not doing that.
I'm hosting a spelling bee today.
No,
it's going
I don't
wrong.
care what we're doing and what we're not doing. I'm hosting a spelling bee today,
Quasi. We could do that
and
next
I'm the judge.
Okay. No one's fighting you. No one's arguing with you.
Quadro,
Just
you
not
won by
today.
default.
My
No one is arguing with you.
Then Shama do. I'm like Quadro, spell cat. Ibra, spell. I'm gonna go find the most difficult ass word.
But look out for the spelling bee later. But today, I got a top. And I feel like today's episode, Ibra gonna fuck with today's episode. Quasi, I don't know if you go vibe or not, but I feel like this is Ibra's kind of bad.
So can we
So
do
do-
something else? It's only
Huh?
3 people. It's only 3 people. Can we do
No.
something else?
Can you let me get
Where
in
camera's rolling, brother. It's too late to change the subject now.
the,
Of course, it's not too late to change the subject. Just stop the recording and start again.
We're, hold up, let me get in the kitchen, let me cook first. All right. So do
You
you,
don't
man
cook.
know who my you man know who my favorite artist is, right?
No.
Really?
No.
Tiana Taylor?
Who's that?
Oh, you're gonna love me. You're gonna wanna hold me. You never heard that song?
No.
That nigga never heard that song. See?
Yeah, he ain't listening to no love songs. Yeah.
Niggas allergic to that shit.
Mm-hmm.
But Dave has always been my favorite rapper, right? And I was like, what could we talk about? We can sit here and talk about his music, his lyrics. We know the niggas already goated. But I was like, I actually know nothing about this man to begin with. So
I mean, yeah, I don't really care what the man does outside the booth. Be like, I'm sorry, another grown ass. Listen, I've been to his concert. It was lit, great time. I'm waiting for him to come back in America again. Apart from his music, I don't really care what the man does. But continue.
not a true Dave warrior. But I was like, I did my research this week, and I was like, what I learned and the path that the research took, I was like, let me share with my brethren so we can have it. Because we sit here and we goof around. We gotta let niggas know we up there in the intellect too. We don't just sit here and tell jokes and be making general knowledge quizzes. So his full name, you know where he's from, right?
Nigeria.
His full name is David Orobosa Michael Omoreji.
Nigeria.
The most Nigerian I've ever heard. But I'm like, how? Because I was like, how did he start music? What is his background? And then the more you learn about him, the more you learn this nigga is more complex than what he actually the lyrics itself. But apparently, his mom fled Nigeria due to political and religious reasons in the regime of Sani Abacha. Right? I don't know who that is, so I'm like, who the fuck is Sani Abacha? Apparently, there are wicked men on this earth, but apparently that nigga takes the cake. He was like a dictator in Nigeria, I believe. I think in the 80s or somewhere along these lines, and he was like a serious dictator. Apparently he embezzled, I think 3 to 5 billion estimated from the country, not naira, dollars. He had his stash.
Dictator ain't serious. He ain't a dictator.
He had his stashed away in he had his stashed away in a different country. So why is this guy important? So he was a dictator, but the most important part of his whole reign was that he, again, anyone who spoke out against him, you're killed. Like you couldn't say nothing. You speak, and I think within 3 business days they got your ass. So there was this Nigerian reporter named Ken Sarawiwa who had 8 other people, and they were protesting against the oil rigs that were in Nigeria. And they said they were like, oh, it was a peaceful protest. Like, he would just go and be like, oh, what we want is, I think they said they want environmental justice, more autonomy for the Oregonian people, and then they want the whole tour oil companies to stop. Government said, you need to cut that shit out. Oil's how we make our money. Pack it up. You got to go. They weren't listening. It was a peaceful protest. So they arrested them. The problem with arresting them was that their message was a lot global at the time. So when they arrested them, everybody knew. And people were telling them, they were like, you need to let them out. Like, it's a peaceful protest. They're not doing anything wrong. Didn't listen. They arrested them, I think, in November. I have in my notes here, in about November of 1994. By January of 1995, they executed them. Right? 8 people, like, public. I don't think it was public, but they executed them. The problem with, again, public executing them, that becomes an international problem. Everybody starts getting on the ass. People, outside forces start getting involved. Eventually, his reign like dies down. But that's not the important point. The most important part is, like, this time period is when Dave's mom had like left Nigeria to the UK to kind of seek asylum. Cool. Dave, I think it's Dave's mom, Dave's brother, Dave's 3 brothers, mom, and the dad didn't make it because his visa didn't go through. So his mom comes here, and it's like her, the 3 brothers. First brother goes down. There's a high profile case in, I think you know this. There's a high profile case in London. What happens? A group of 8 people are involved in like the stabbing of someone in broad daylight. All right? Yeah. This is not like a gang activity behind, in broad daylight. They like killed this guy. The cops come. The reason this is like a thing is like, apparently, and I didn't even notice, crime in the broad daylight is the worst thing you could do. Broad daylight, there's more media attention.
Yeah. Because everybody outside, it's like, at nighttime, it's like, hey, we don't see it. Daytime is like, oh.
You just don't give a fuck.
Yeah, it's like, oh, you really don't care. Okay, for you.
So it gains a huge ton of media attention, right? Media attention, what that equals to is that whatever y'all did, it couldn't have been that major. As long as the public has seen it, as long as everybody's talking about it, your punishment is just 1,000 times more, right?
That is the UK too.
It's a way of like government setting examples, because it's like, if we go off light with this one person, everybody else gonna think, okay, we can do this shit too.
So Dave's brother goes to jail with these eight people. They charged them on a joint enterprise persecution. You guys know what that is?
RICO.
Joint enterprise, yeah, basically means even if it doesn't matter who did the crime, as long as you guys are in the same cohort, we're dishing out the same punishment. So you don't even have to do this. Dave's brother didn't even do the stabbing. He was just in the gang of somebody that did it. So I'm thinking about it, and I'm like, this is the dumbest shit I ever heard. Because imagine we go outside and you tweak and you do some dumb shit. I'm talking about I got to do life because you tweaked. I mean,
no, but what's it called? That I know in America how it started off with like the Italian mafias and stuff like that. Because like the Italian mafias, it was so layered, where it's like there's like 40 different bosses before you get to the bosses, and it's like you can't touch the top dog. All you can do is arrest the middle, the foot soldiers. So it's like, okay, so if this one person does it, they all connected. We getting everybody.
Well, I don't think you're gonna say the reason they got everybody is because nobody wanted to snitch.
I would have been singing like a motherfucker.
Nobody wanted to snitch.
I would have.
So they were like, we're just gonna, if nobody's gonna say you guys are all in the same thing, we've concluded you guys are all in the same gang. Cool. So the brother gets, I think, 18 to life.
Damn.
Dave's mom falls into depression and tells his other 2 brothers, you guys need to buckle down. This nigga's in jail. You're not gonna do that. Second brother also goes to jail for bank fraud. He's a bank teller. That's what I said. I was reading. I was like, he's Nigerian. I mean, getting caught is crazy, but he goes to jail for bank fraud. So there's just Dave left. Dave then gets like his mom, and you know how African moms get scared quick. His mom was like, no, now it's just law school and come back home. It's law school and come back home. So that's all he was doing for like a select period of time. And then apparently that's when he picked up music. He was just in his music bag. Cool. He then goes on the first time we see him, he goes on this thing called the Black Box Freestyle, where he's just like rapping about his emotions.
Yeah.
And like, yeah. And like stuff that has to do with his brother's thing. But like when he was rapping, nobody, like, I feel like we've gotten to the age where when you hear somebody rap, people don't really believe that shit is about you. Like they just think everybody's capping. Cause like that's what rappers do. But I listened to it while I was doing the thing. He talks about like the 18-year sentence. He talks about having to take medication because like mentally he wasn't where he needed to be. His grandma died and his mom had contemplated suicide. And the biggest part I heard in the song is that he's like his brother didn't even do the crime, and he was like he like alluded to the fact that he was there and he saw it, so he knows his brother didn't do it. But because like the street has a code, his brother not snitching is what like has gotten him in there, and that's how it's done there.
Anonymous caller, he didn't do it.
But like they're not gonna like in a high profile case like this, they're not gonna believe you.
Yeah,
right?
They rounded all you up.
So he starts music, tries to pursue it, tells his mom, hey, I want to drop out of law school to go pursue music. And the mom's like, are you crazy? Are you dumb? Dave doesn't listen, does it anyway, goes on a black box freestyle. He like people are like, oh, like he's kind of good. Like you drop him more, drops an album later that year. And then that album, I forget which album it is the one that has like environments. Oh, Psychodrama. Psychodrama, I think, wins album of the year. Career takes off from there, right? So that's a little bit about his story. But when I was like reading it, I was jotting down some notes about stuff about like immigrant parents and like some of the stuff and the issues that they run into that leads kids the way they're going to lead to, right? So I think the first point I have here was that it's like the instability with like fleeing. And like I think it's something that even African people don't understand is that when you migrate to America, your problems don't just stop.
They triple.
Like your problems are a lot worse here. You're facing systematic racism. You're facing poverty and you're facing social isolation. And I feel like that's a concept that when people hear that you've traveled abroad or people hear that they think you just made it. And that's all that it is. They don't really think about things like that. Another good point he brought up was that, or the story brought up for me was that, like, you understand that when immigrant mothers, at least single parents, they work in like essential low paying jobs in harsh environments to provide for their families. That's something people don't talk about a lot, right? And then another thing people don't look at is that when people migrate, the sacrifices that like parents at least have to make for their children. Because in this case, it was like in Nigeria, it was a very hostile environment, but she made the sacrifice to leave everything she knew and everything like she loved behind to kind of provide a better life for her and her family, right? So the first point I want to pose to you, Mandem, is what do you guys think about the unrealistic expectations that like older immigrants put on their children to succeed when they migrate to the United States?
Quasi, you want to go first?
I think to some degree, it's not unrealistic expectations.
Really?
They just they at the end of the day they sacrifice all this to come to a new land to basically try and give their kids an opportunity, right? So yes, they could tell you go do this, go be that, and I'm only speaking based on my situation, not anyone else's, because everyone's parents are different and everyone's relationship with their parents are different.
Yeah, that's true.
My dad wanted me to be a petroleum engineer. I wanted to be a biologist.
What?
We digress.
Okay.
I went into school for bioengineering.
Okay.
I gave up on that 2 weeks in. I became business economics. I didn't tell nobody until my graduation day when my dad looked up at the board and was like, wait, business? Nigga was pissed. Guess what he's doing to my brothers now?
Watching them religiously.
What you got? Let me see your transcript. Then again, your parents could force you to do so much, but at the end of the day, like especially in America, you're in school, you could change your major. They cannot come and tell the school, oh, give that shit. You could change your major. Now, how open are you to consequences after that, right? Because you don't know how they're going to react. So, yeah, the expectation my dad was setting was not unrealistic. It's just not what I wanted to do. So your parents could tell you, yeah, these are my expectations for you, but if you use discernment, you could deliberate whether you want to do it, if you actually want to do it, or if you don't. And if you don't, how open are you to going against that, right? Of course, nobody like it depends on your threshold for risk. At the end of the day, your parents could cut you off and kick you out of the house. So you got to use you literally got to think and figure things out. But I don't think um most of the expectations they set are unrealistic. It's within reason because at the end of the day, you could achieve whatever you want to achieve if you actually work hard enough and utilize whatever resources and networks you got. Even though the struggle it might be a struggle, it's not as unrealistic as you know me telling someone in Africa that has never been to school, yo, rocket science, become a rocket scientist. What? How you gonna do that? You're in the middle of a village somewhere. That's kind of it's kind of unrealistic if you don't have internet and all that extra stuff. But still, like you're in a place where you have so many resources, so many outlets, where just think about things, figure out your risk threshold, and go about things. That's what I did. And I mean, it is what it is. They would have to deal with whatever you basically decide at the end of the day. And how they deal with it is how they deal with it, and how you deal with it is how you deal with it. You gotta respect everyone's opinion, but you don't have to basically go with what everyone tells you.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I mean, I feel like that question is like loaded with so many different, I don't know, not subjects. So many different things. You got to understand they, leaving everything that you know, different cultures, different people, different environments to come in, provide a better life for yourself where all you've known. But listen, honestly, we can say like real talk because some of our parents, like, don't get me wrong, the ability to come to America, they had to have money. So they were leaving, some of them were living a comfortable life in Africa. You know what I mean? So it's not like it's all doom and gloom because I lived in I lived in Senegal before thing. Most of my family over there, they had money. I ain't know a day of suffering. I'm not even gonna hold you. So I'm not. When I was in Senegal, bro, it was good meals every day. We lived in a big ass house, bro. So if I would be sitting out here and say I suffered in Senegal, no, I didn't. I was living good. I went to a Catholic school. I got my school was. I went to a private school. I had a maid at home. I had 2-story
Oh,
building, brother.
whoa! Y'all niggas had maids.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
Had
so
a
y'all
maid
rich.
paid for that, bro.
Y'all
And the
rich,
maid
huh?
lived in the crib, her own bed, own room, everything, bro. It's not rich, bro. So it's just
I
like,
was
listen.
poor.
Yeah, I seen the pictures. You were poor.
I grew up in the village.
Niggas-
I grew
I
up
think-
in the village
Nigga
on
said
a
we believe
farm.
you. Nigga said we believe you.
Believe you, brother.
Nah, but
Believe
I
you,
mean, we
brother.
got by because I mean, parents were in America; they were sending money. That
Yeah.
conversion rate, woo!
He said, good chicken.
That shit was it.
He said, good chicken.
Fried rice with fried chicken. Ooh!
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds black as fuck. Damn.
Like, what, bro? But yeah, like, so certain things, but like, obviously, it's still like your parents, they have their own struggles, and it's like, African parents, they vicariously live through their children. So it's like a lot of them, they feel like they've sacrificed their lives to get you to this point in life, which is like, I'm grateful for, I'm thankful for. And I always say this, I will be nowhere without my mom and my dad. Nowhere in life. Absolutely not. Even no matter what our relationship is gonna be, but like financially and stuff like that, education wise, the place that I'm at right now, it wouldn't happen without my parents. Absolutely at all. But they gotta know. But then this is where parenting comes in, and then now just being a individual. At the end of the day, no other human being, no matter what, you're gonna do whatever you want.
Yep.
Even if it goes against what your parents want, you're gonna do what you want at the end of the day. It's just like how you want to go about it. Like sometimes, like Quadra with the other day, about the V with your mom. I'm like, bro, I just do it. I'm like, bro. With me, my mom, she gets mad. I'm like, but here's the thing. I'm already here into doing it already. It's too late now to like what's it called to tell me put it back. Nah, I didn't had it for a year now, so you can't really do anything about it. But that's where it's like a lot of it also too. Like that's why sometimes like I don't fault my parents for certain things simply because it's like they feel like they've done so much in a sense like your life is theirs. You know what I mean? So it's like your wins are theirs. your loss. No, your losses is yours. Your wins are theirs. So and it's like it's one of those things where it's like you as an individual, you got to be like, listen, I'm very grateful. I'm very thankful. I will repay you for everything that you have done for me. But this is my life. This is where I take control now. Because I always say after a certain point, bro, you got to get up and be like, bro, man or a woman, you got to be like, this is my life. I'm the one in control here.
Yeah.
I'm not asking for permission. I'm telling you what it's going to be. You don't like it, you can leave me alone. I'm not going to beg you. I'm not going to beg nobody to, what's it called, accept my decisions and stuff like that at the end of the day. So that's where it got to come to. But it's one of those things where it's like, when somebody said, you said, listen, with African parents, you just rebel. You just do it, bro. If you don't have a rebelling stage, holy shit, DRR, you will hate your life. So genuinely, it's just like, yeah, it's just that question is just so many different portions of it. It's all within good intentions, but at the same time, you got to remember, like, your parents lived in a different time. What they think is success versus what success is now is completely different. Or like for me, it's much more simple because it's like I grew up in Senegal, whereas like my siblings, they did it. So it's like my mom should be like, you don't know how hard it is. Da, da. You talking to a kid who's always the water never turned off, the electricity and everything. My little brother be like, I don't care. like he straight up, he's like, you're telling me all this suffering and pain. He's like, I'm sorry, but that's not me. So it's like there's a difference between they never experienced it. You could tell somebody versus being their own experience. Like if it's not their own experience, like for me, it's different because it's like I'm more appreciative of certain things because like I've seen what real poverty is. American poverty, I listen, I will never diminish nobody's pain. But when they told me you can make money from collecting cans as a homeless person, I said, these boys got it good. I said, what? I said, in Africa, you poor, you poor. Like there is
nowhere else.
Yeah.
And niggas do not donate you money if you say in the street begging for it. They would look at you like, yo, look at this bum.
Look at this bum.
Like, let's keep it a buck.
Exactly. So when people would be like, oh yeah, da da da, I'm like certain things, but like it's different if it's like, you come from a time where you always suffer and your kids never known suffering and they grow up and you expect them to have your same mentality of what you've been through. No, their experiences are completely different. So it's like you're dealing with two different experiences and two different people. So that's why sometimes when my mom be bringing that up to my little brother, I'm like, he don't care. He's never experienced that. I'm like, bro, my son been living here comfortably, and he always has heating, always has warm water. He ain't never had to experience what it is to boil the water just so that you can get some hot water before you shower.
That was kind of fun. That was kind of fun.
Exactly. He ain't never had to do that before. So you sit out here talking to a kid who it's all been comfort from the day he's been born. So versus you. So it's hard, like that conversation. But like a lot of African parents, once they get into their certain ways of thinking, you can't talk about anything.
And I'm like, with the hot water, you had to ratio your cold water properly so you don't.
Yes, bro. Yo, you got a cold ass water, you got a hot ass water, you got to balance it out, and then get way more water.
That's right.
You literally got to scrub yourself.
Yeah, I remember the moment I knew Americans had it good was in 7th grade. I'll never forget when we were reading A Long Walk to Water, and Ibrahima had raised his hand in class and suggested that when you go to brush your teeth, you could just pour the water in a cup and use the one when you had to use. I remember who our English teacher was at that. I don't remember who our English teacher was at the time, but she made it seem like Ibrahima was Einstein when he said that. Like, I forget what it was.
Wow.
Okay. Moving on. Another point about immigrant. Remember, another point that this whole thing brought for me was that the emotional suppression that African immigrant parents have, that they avoid discussing, or they don't bring up mental health due to the fact that it's looked up and frowned upon. I don't think people really delve much into what effect that really has on their children. I'll say this much for myself. Like, I've never once sat down with my family, but let's talk about our feelings. It's usually either a problem or a problem solution and get up and keep it pushing. It's never, how do you feel about it? How do you want to talk about this? Like, I don't think my mother has ever done anything wrong and looked at me and apologized and said the words, I am sorry. To this day, I've never heard it.
I'm not these days. I don't expect it no more. Like at first when I was younger, I used to be so mad about it. I don't expect it no more. But
I
here's
think
the thing. Here's the thing. I understand why. I understand. It's like you've dealt with now because it's like we're not rich in America, but you're not poor either. That's because why? Your parents are always working. When you're broken, you got bills to pay. I don't got time for emotions. So you got to think about it. You got to think about it. In Africa, many people are like they're struggling to get jobs. You got people graduating with master's degree, still can't get a job. You think I got time to feel sad when I got to eat? I got to pay my bills. You got to, and that's the reality for many Africans. So it's like for them, it's like, yo, I don't got time to be sad. Yes, I got my heart broken, but I got to get up and go to work. If not, this is it for me. So it's like,
I'd rather be heartbroken than homeless.
yes, I'm like, bro, like, so a lot of folks is like, so I understand it now more than ever. Where it's like, bro, a lot of Africans is like, bro, I got stuff I need to get done. So it's like, bro, you want to sit down here and cry about your problems? We don't care. Get up. There's shit that can get done. But it's like in America, it's different because it's like so many resources. So it's like it's so many options. We're all from the poorest of the poor. We're all spoiled with options, with resources. Even if you're on the brink of going thing, you got EBT, you got the government subsidized thing, you got some sort of like garden net where it's like, okay, something does make me feel sad and think you got time to do that because all your other stuff is taken care of. Like I said, I was like, when I really had money, I realized money gives you stability to now focus on other stuff. Like, you know what? Money gives you the stability where now it's like all your other problems now, they show up. You have to deal with them. Like your emotions. Like, if I don't have to, I got a job that takes care of everything. Your emotions now, when you feel it, damn, that really does bother me. Imagine a nigga who got to pay his bills, you telling him, I feel like this thing, I don't give a fuck.
But that's what I'm saying is that everyone keeps saying it is like you have problems with money and problems without money. And I want problems that come with money. I want problems that 1,000%. I want problems that come with money. But hey, man, everybody's different, I guess.
They're stupid.
I think my dad has my mom has apologized before. I think she was like, "Oh, sorry," but like in a joking manner. You know what I mean?
That's the problem.
It wasn't like, "Oh, I'm sorry for doing that."
Mm-hmm.
What? I don't think I ever expected. To be fair, it's like
Mhm.
it's so. I mean, at the end
Well,
of the
like if
day,
I were to hear
shit
stories,
happens and you move along. Like
I know it's one of
that's
those things where it's like it's one of those things where it's just for all right, damn, you mad about it? Shit, sorry, get
Move
over
on.
it. Just for that.
I don't, and it's not anything that like I hold within myself. Like, oh my gosh, they've done this to me. They've done this to me. That's stress.
Yeah,
That's internal stress for me. Keep that away. I don't
Yeah.
deal with that, bro.
But I think
Like,
a huge part of why I don't know about you guys, but a huge part of why I don't, or at least I learned to forgive my mother was when I got put in her shoes. Not necessarily got to walk the same length, but like you have bills to pay, you have like stuff to take care of, like you have decisions to make where it's like other nuanced stuff or stuff that should be bothering you don't even have the space to make it in your like
Mhm.
you understand? Like the other day, I had a meeting with my manager at work, and he's like, "Oh, like, how are you feeling? Are you okay?" I'm like, I don't think you understand. I'm here. I'm getting paid. I'm doing great. Like, you don't have to worry about me. Like, I was like, the only thing we have to talk about is if I do something bad, and you gotta like put me in check. But but like, I feel so bad sometimes. 'Cause I'm like, he's always trying to like get like where my emotions are intact. Like, am I doing? And I'm like, every time I step in here, I make money. This is the happiest I've been my entire life. It's like it's even my bad days. I'm so I'm just like it's a different thing. But another point we don't even have to touch upon this, but I just brought it up because I wrote it down is that the disconnect that children often feel when they immigrate here, like the disconnect between like having to like stay or trying to like uphold your cultural roots, but you're still in a new environment, so you're gonna get affected regardless. And I think it's like that's like a struggle he talked about in the song as well, which I low key I think is fair. Like people always look at me like they're like you're Americanized. I'm like, okay,
what you expect?
I don't
Like what?
like
you
I
came here at a
try.
young age.
I enjoy African entertainment. I get along great with other Africans who I meet. Like I've never felt as if I'm any less African because I've been in America for too long. That's just me though.
I
Bro.
will say this though. when I first came here and the whole Africa booty scratcher thing was a thing, I still did say I was African, but it got to a point
I was hitting
where I mean, okay, when I first came here, right, versus when you first come here, you're coming here with the whole mindset of where you're coming from, the culture you're coming from, how interactions and everything. When you come to a new land, you have to learn a whole new way of life. You either adapt or you get isolated.
Yeah.
So when people say, "Oh, you don't speak the language anymore," "Oh, you don't," what do I look like speaking tree to English speakers, right? And also as a kid, you come here as a kid, but you're like fully conscious and aware of what's going on with a thick accent, right? With all that stuff that other people are laughing at you for. It's you go no matter how tough your skin is, it does something to your head
That should get you.
where
That
you,
shit gets
you
That shit would
bro,
get you.
that shit hits you. So I literally spent most of my time speaking English. Like tree was the last thing I spoke. Even at home, my dad was like, "Yo, you gotta lock in because tree every day was tree. Every day was tree." He was like, "Yo, if you speak English here, we're gonna have problems." So I had to basically like perfect my English. I learned it. I'm in school. Niggas talking shit. That's when I after a while, like once I got, I started flowing with the language, started like picking up some little cues, American culture, right? I went to my dad. I was sick of the bullying. I was like, "Hey, if somebody makes fun of me, and because I mean, still coming from Africa, if you get into a fight, your parents are going to deal with you, right?" So I went to him. I was like, "Yo, if people are bullying me or someone is insulting me, and it gets to a certain point, we're gonna have problems." And he was like, "As long as you ain't starting it,
That's why.
do what you gotta do."
That's why
And that was when I was like, "Oh, cool, niggas." PS114. There was this dude that tried to bully me. I dealt with that. There was another one that tried to bully me. I dealt with that. Like, but to be fair, I'm gonna say this. It's something about me that like when I was quiet. I mean, when you first come, you don't want to talk and cause problems for yourself. But once I started like causing problems, like against people that were coming after me, I was like, "Yo, I'm kind of tweaking," because
yeah.
I didn't understand the full jail system and everything.
That's why low key I'm always like I'm so appreciative about middle school and that 3 years of experience at that lunch table because what that experience taught me was you gotta take a hit and give it right back.
Yup.
Because I remember first when I came in 6th grade and it started, I would be crying about this. Actually, hurt my feelings, and I quickly realized, bro, gotta get up and fight.
Get back up quick. But the thing
back and fight.
The thing is, for me though, like that started off because it took me 3 months to learn English. Once I learned, it was up and stuck for everybody.
That's what I'm saying.
I was like, listen,
that's what I'm saying, bro.
Once I learned English, because I'm like, here's the thing. You know when somebody's talking shit about you in another language, you just can't respond. I don't know the gist of it, but I can feel the energy is coming towards me. I said, you boys just wait for me. I'm coming. Just wait for me. It was the same thing. I remember, bro, elementary school, I used to get into fights all the time. I never forget. It was this one fight, and I remember this was the last fight, and I got it. I promised myself that day. I was like, I'm never going to fight again because I beat this kid up so badly. Gave him a black eye, bloody nose, broke his thing, and a big knot on the side of his head. I will never forget it. This nigga, his name is Javier. I remember this nigga exactly, bro.
Oh, you had a Hispanic guy too?
What? Both.
You had a Hispanic.
Bro,
I was Hispanic and an African.
Bro, taller than me. I never forget. We fought in the middle of the playground, mind you. You know how like when they would let you outside for recess, they wouldn't just be like, all right, go. They would just make y'all stand. They made us stand the whole circle. I forgot. I just called him something, and then so he just. But like for me, it was back when I was younger. Back then, it was like, listen, hit before you can get hit. I'm not waiting for you to hit me first. So I just felt him coming towards me. I'm like, yo, bro. Like I just kept on calling Huggy because he was on some. I remember the situation exactly because he was asking this girl. He was like, "Yo, where my hug at?" I heard him. I'm like, "Okay, Huggy." And then, but then the thing is, though, I'm a troll though. Like I've lowered my level of trolling, so the whole day I would be like, Huggy, and then one day, bro, he just
nigga, you're the bully.
I know. I'm I'm not I did not say I wasn't called it. I did not say I was right. So and it was like, and then he was like, and he just came at me. All I saw was his fist balled. So all I swing, I was like, listen, swing first, ask questions later. Bro, I'm whipping his nigga ass so bad. But the thing is, they never called my parents. They didn't call my parents. Nothing. It was just 1 week of no recess, and all we had to do was clean the lunchroom. That's it. After everybody ate, they think I took that as a punishment because I know if I went back home, my mama would beat my
Oh
ass.
yeah.
So I was like, listen, you know what, bro?
I'll clean the whole school if I have
I
to.
would clean the whole school if I have to. And then ever since that day, bro, I hurt this kid so bad. I was so scared because I was like, yo, I can never get into a fight like that again. Because I'm like, I don't want to. Yeah, like literally the jail system. Like that's the thing that scared me. I'm like, yo, bro, like that shit is real. Because I'm like, yo, that shit is real.
Nah, I'm not gonna lie. The first thing my mom said when I landed here 2 weeks in, we were taking the elevator. My know African babysitters in the different building. They'd be like, your aunt's whatever, right? We were in there. She was like, yo, watch yourself. You could get raped in one of these shits. I was like, wait a minute, what the
Why
fuck?
are you telling me this?
No, literally, she was like, yo, when you're walking around, you got there was no soft landing into the American way of life. She was like,
Your
if you're
butt
not
hole
careful
was
around these, if you're walking down the street, if you're in a different building, watch yourself.
Watch
a nigga
yourself.
could catch and rape you. I was like, oh,
Play with your booty hole.
literally. I was like, oh, that's how it is around these parts.
My mom
I was
always
like,
had,
damn.
My mom always had this one rule: you go out, whatever problem you get outside, deal with it outside, and don't bring it back to the house. I live by that rule to this very day. If I go outside and I get a problem, I know the last person I'll call is my mother. That like,
Yeah, never. It's so funny because sometimes I slip up and I say something. My mom would be like, "Why didn't you tell me that?" In my head, I'd be like, I will never tell you certain things."
she keeps getting mad about it at our old age. She's like, "Why didn't you never speak to me?" I'm like, "You told me to keep my problems outside." Like, if I go outside and I get in a problem, best believe by the time I step in that house, that problem's been solved. It's either solved or it's gonna get solved, and I'm gonna just keep it pushing.
But oh yeah, no, like that. What was the no? I don't think. What was the question again? I forgot something. I forgot what I wanted to say.
Disconnect between generations where kids are torn between their life here and their life like in America.
Oh yeah. I feel like it's important to have other Africans around you. That's the thing. You gotta. There is no way as an individual. Like when people, like for example, when people get mad at whitewashed black kids, I'm like, bro, it's not their fault. They're left in an environment. Like people don't realize how segregated America is. They're put in an environment where they're the only black person. They have to. They have to adapt to other, like to the.
They
other.
got no option. I mean,
They got
you learn from who you're around.
Exactly. So either it's like they're gonna be alone, which is like at the age of 8, no kid is gonna be like, I don't want to be alone, so I'm gonna do what my friends are doing. I'm gonna act like the way that they're acting, talk the way that they're talking, so that I can fit in with them. So it's like I'm like, I don't blame it. It's different if we're talking about like a grown ass person. I ain't doing that. But it's like if you're telling that to a kid is gonna do what other kids are doing, and all other kids are different from them. They're gonna try to find a way to fit with them. So it's like for us, we were lucky where it's like we grew up in the Bronx, where it's like we grew up around other Africans. I seen other Senegalese people. When you went home was Africa too. So it's like well, you could keep your heritage, keep your language alive. I'm like me, I don't speak French no more. I don't speak a lick no more. I speak Wolof like that. Why? Because I talked to my mom and my dad in Wolof. I was like French. I went to school for 8 years in Senegal. I couldn't tell you a single fucking word in French.
Oh, they just try to teach me that shit too.
Yeah.
I said
All I remember is comment allez-vous? And it's because niggas gave me a fucking song to sing.
Yeah, that's it.
That's all I know. But piggyback off what Ebro was saying, that's why I always say, like, I feel like that's why I always say, like, God, for me, God, that's why I say God is real. Because that middle school, that 6th grade moment, that is, I feel like that's the age where you figure out what it is you're gonna do. And I'm glad I found out other niggas who all we cared about was school, and we knew we were broke and kept it pushing. Because we had other people that were in our class that were doing other stuff. We see how they ended up now. But it's like But the more I think about it, I'm like, I don't really blame these kids because they didn't know any. Like, they're literally a product of their environment. Like, we're gonna have to move out his name, but one person I was thinking about when I was doing this because I like privy this conversation will get here. It's somebody like Reynard. I don't know if you guys remember who he is.
Yeah, I know. That nigga was never in class.
But
when his mom would show up to come pick him up, Reynard not here.
But the thing is, when you think about it, moments where he was in class or he was present, he was a good kid.
Yeah,
He wasn't like the other one.
Yeah, the other one was wild.
He wasn't like the other one. Like, but like all
The
like,
other one is crazy.
but
we know who the
not,
other one is.
but we know what we're talking about. But my thing is, I always think about it, and I'm always like, when he was in class and he was present and he was like around other people that wasn't who his usual crew is, great kid.
Yeah,
speaks, enunciates very properly, does his work. Whenever the other people came in, that's when you saw him act up. And I don't know what he's doing now, but I could probably take about a guess or two, but not really. Like, that's what I'm saying. So it's like, and that's why as we're growing up, I don't really blame whitewashed black people as much because I'm like, you didn't know any better.
Yeah.
You were, if anything, I'm like, you're privileged enough to grow up in an environment where it's like, it's good. You're going to become a product of the environment. If you had other black people around you and you still chose this path, that's a different conversation we're going to have. But some people didn't have that option to hang around people that look like them. So it's like, I can't, and these days, I really try my best. If I see whitewash person, I have a conversation with a regular person. I keep the judgment to a minimum. I can't stop it, but I will just keep it to a minimum.
The only thing I judge them is how comfortable they are around black people. That's the one right there. Because
that was what I was gonna say.
That's the one right there.
Depends on where you grow up and what you pick up. Like
on purpose, if I really want to be friends with him, I bring him around. I'm like me. Any environment I'm in, I'm always gonna have a group of black people around me, whether it's Black Americans or Africans. Now, I'm gonna test you by bringing you around them. I'm gonna watch you closely. I want to see how you act around these. These are people who are like me for real. If you move if you move like that, you gotta go. Like, you know what I mean? But it's like, no, there are some who are like very, very chill in a sense. I remember this one lady, I was talking to her, and she was buying a coffee. She was talking about how she worked in a hospital in the inner city. And then so then she was like, she see like a lot of like delinquents. She really wanted to say a lot of these little niggas, white. But like like when white people are talking about black people, they're talking about black people, but they don't want to say. They be like, oh, some of these people, and then in these type of areas, they're looking at you deep in the eye too. And I'm like, I know you want to call it and say these little nigglets. They're just acting like this. And then so she was like, because she was talking about the Kia boys. Do you know? It's these 13, 14-year-old kids that's just stealing Kias and basically crashing them. But I'm like, yo, bro, like she was like, these kids, they need to get arrested, all gathered up in one place, and just leave them there. I was like,
concentration camps?
I'm like, listen, at the end of the day, they're children. These are just children who've been caught in the wrong environment. They don't have people at home to lead them. I'm like, it's different. It's easy for you to get up and say that because you had a mom, you had a dad, you grew up in a great environment that was enriching. You had people who guide you. Some of these kids, they don't. And they have probably like other kids who are 18, 19 years old who are leading them, speaking into their ear like, yo, go do this, go do that. Go do this, do that. Go give this thing for somebody. Or go give this to this person. Go give that. Go do this for that person. And then they talking into their ear like Quasi. You watched Top Boy before, right? Yeah, and you remember how Jamie would talk to the little kids. He's like, "Yo, bro, you don't want money?" He's like, "Take it."
Yeah,
you don't want money, bro. Come on, man.
Yeah, that's the thing I had to realize. That's how they get like, your perspective on right and wrong is based on how you grow up and who you're around. So they think that's fun. They think that's cool because that's okay. That's what they've seen.
Yeah.
So at the end of it's easy for us to be like, damn, niggas ain't got common sense. Yeah. No, because that was not the common sense they grew up around. Yeah. You know what I mean? Common sense is not common unless everyone grows up within the same boundaries. Yeah. And some people, you know.
But that's what I'm saying is that as I'm like we're growing up, I judge people less. Don't get me wrong, I still do it because I can't help it. But like I try to understand people more as in, like people. I try to like do it more as in like I try to like think. For example, with Dave's brother in like when I was first reading, I was like, why would you join a gang? Like, why do you love being shot? Like, why is that what you're into?
UK?
But that's what I'm thinking is that like you think about it from his perspective. Immigrant parents, they're broke, they're poor. You're a child. Somebody comes to you today and say, hey, I could give you $100 a day. All you gotta do is stand across the corner and make some money. In your head, you're not thinking about all the bad stuff that drug is doing to the community. You're not thinking about the legal repercussions. All you think about is how I'm gonna get money and how I'm gonna eat.
Yes.
With that standard, I can't judge you.
Yeah, but here's the thing too. Also, it's like it's important. Like I know for me and Quasi, like I ain't saying this to be disrespectful, but like having a male figure in the household. I'm sorry, Quattro. I'm sorry. I didn't mean.
No. You're good. You're
like,
good.
Having a male figure in the household is important because it's like I don't care about what gender norms, but listen, only a man can raise a boy. That's like in a way where it's like oh, only a man could raise a boy. Certain things, like my dad would get into my ear about it. My mom won't even say anything. You would hear from my dad. But at the end of the day, like it's certain things like a woman can only do so much when it comes to raising. Like, have you when it comes to raising a boy? Like I've seen some boys who are raised by a woman only, and then I look at them and I'm like, you ain't have a dad, don't you? And it's like, yeah, how you know?
No, because it's like, yes, your mom, you could be afraid of your mom.
Yeah.
But also having a second person is a different level of fear, you know? Level of fear, level of authority. My brother laughs at my mom when she beats him at a certain point. Now, when I show up to the house and I gotta deal with him, that's different. No one is laughing. Even my mom is not laughing.
Yeah.
My mom's like, damn, nigga, relax. And I'm just like, I haven't even done anything. You're his mother, so of course you're gonna think this is fault. But we sitting there and like, I smack this nigga. My mom's like, how could you do that to him? That's your brother. I know that's my brother. That's exactly why I'm doing it to him. Nigga's gotta get his mind straight. He knows you ain't gonna do shit. That's why he's doing this shit. Like, bro, it's like, if you have a dad in the house, I was never scared of my dad. It was my mom I was scared of, right? Because she was the one that was feeding me. My dad will show up and the food is there too. Because I'm like, I'm not gonna mess with the person who's giving me the food. I'm a kid. I need to eat. Right? Yeah. But when my dad like steps into a situation, I'm just like, fuck. Like I'm not scared of him. But if he steps in, I'm just like, yo.
Yeah, it's a different level of fear.
I am cooked.
Like with your mom, like you just accept it, you just take it, this is what it is. But when your dad like
damn, this because they don't really deal with you unless you really fucked up.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like
my dad is just like, damn, is that bad?
Yeah, my dad never my dad never beat me, but he smacked me. Like he would smack me. Like he would hold my ear, pinch it, and then twist it. Or if I did something wrong, he would just hit me on the top of my head. Like my dad,
that little ear.
Bro, he used to wear a ring. I swear to God, that's the one thing I hated him for. He would just automatically. I'm like, yo,
hate him or love him. That shit was getting you. Was setting your fucking mind.
I swear to God, I would want to just come up with the meanest uppercut, bro. But it's important for like a man, for like a boy to have a man in his life. Because at the end of the day, there's certain things like a mother can only do certain things so much. It's like a male authority is like, bro. Like, and it's the same thing with my little brother. Like my little brother, he just laughs at my dad and my mom. But when I step in, he's like, oh, okay, damn, relax, bro. Like, because it's one of those things where he's the biggest in the crib. When I step in, he's not the biggest in the crib no more. So it's one of those things where it's like once you have like a male authority over in a sense in a boy's life, those things are important.
I love fighting. I
agree. Yeah, I agree because I didn't have that, but like it wasn't. And I think what my mom had, she did a great job, but there were just certain things that a male figure would have been a lot better at disciplining me and instilling in me that she wasn't able to. And it's not that it's no fault to her. Like I think she did a great job, but just you don't like you can't do what you don't like you don't have. That's why like these days I'm very like prevalent in like that's why when we usually talk about like having kids and doing that, I'm like when I'm ready to have having a kid is such a serious commitment to me because I know once I have him, I can't go nowhere. Like I have to be there. Whether it's a son or a daughter, I have to be there to put certain fears and values in there that a man should be doing for the household. So I definitely don't agree. And I definitely do think, even with the topic of Dave, his dad not being in their lives played a role in how his brothers weren't able to like steer a good path for the most part. Because it's like, if the mom can't go to work for like extraneous hours and come back and be like present in their kids' lives. So it's gonna be gaps in there where it's like they're gonna like have to find their own way.
Yep.
So I see it. But more, I talk about it, but little notes is like mental health issues that came at least in from his music that he talks about is that like he feels a lot of guilt that the mom, like the sacrifices that his mom had to make. If you ever heard of like Heart Attack, like the last bit of it, that's like he gets deep into that. I know. The first time I heard that, I didn't know. Like I was confused. It took me a little bit of listens to like actually get it. And then he also talks about like anxiety from growing up in a household that like is affected by poverty and incarceration, where it's like he's always like anxious that like whatever he does, he's gonna fuck up or he's gonna like end up like people in his household because that's like the demo, like that's what he's been exposed to.
And that's the
Talks
thing
about that a lot.
That's the thing also too, because with African parenting, it's led by fear. It's fear. Like they don't. I feel like it's different. Like I don't know. Like I feel like okay. Then this is the I don't know what way to put it. With healthy children, like who were taught in a manner, like their parents didn't instill fear in them. So that's why like some kids who get up and be like, I don't really have no anxiety. I'm not really depressed like that. I get sad here and stuff like that. It's not fear driven. It's different where it's like you fuck up as a kid, I'm gonna beat you. You do this, I'm gonna beat you. So now everything that you do from from a little kid, you get scared. So it's a fear-based thing where it's like, if you don't do this, you're gonna end up just like that, or this is gonna happen really bad. So it's all fear. And it's like now you internalize that because it's like your parents are telling you these things. You internalize it, and then when you get older, it's like, now it's just fear and anxiety. And you're dealing with the same shit that your parents did, but it's like it's one of those things where you've just dealt with that since a kid and you don't know how to change it. And that's the problem, to be honest with you, because it's like a lot of African parents, they're just like fear driven. So it's like that's the only way they can get through their kids is like just tell them something to scare them. Like, listen, if you don't go to school, be a doctor, you're gonna become a bum, and nobody's ever gonna want you, and nothing's gonna work out in life. And it's like, damn, nigga, fuck, no, life doesn't go like that.
That's one thing I also realized on my end too. Like, as the older brother, the way I was talking to my brother at a certain point, I was like, "What the fuck?
Sound like your mom.
What's wrong with you?"
Yeah.
Like, I literally, I was laying down. I was like, "What the fuck is wrong with you, bro?"
Mm-hmm.
Like,
yeah, you do. And it's like I
talk
feel like
talk to these niggas in an encouraging way.
Yeah, I feel like I realized that when I was younger too, my teenage year. I think that's the one thing I regret, like being an older sibling. I felt like, to be honest with you, like I've told you guys this, I've dealt with my own issues where it's like I wasn't as present, and then it wasn't so with my siblings, certain things I would just see it happening. I wouldn't even say anything, to be honest with you, because it's just like, but I don't really care. But it's like as I've gotten now, it's like after I've gotten done with all those issues now, it's just like, you speak to them in a much more encouraging manner. You know what I mean? So, but it's like at the end of the day, it was just like I was young, bro. So certain things, just like, nigga, I don't really give a fuck about your problems. I already got my own issues of what the fuck I'm dealing with, to be honest with you. So I don't really care.
Yeah, one thing I also realized, like at a certain point, one thing I guess I'll commend myself for is whatever shit I fucked up doing, I tell my brothers when you fuck up doing something, right? And then the solution now.
Yeah.
I tell them the solution so they don't go and fuck it up. Now, if you go and fuck it up, that's on you.
Yeah.
But I literally just tell you the solution. I'm like, yo, you should do this, 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 and this. Don't do that. If you choose to go and do whatever I said don't do, that's on you, right? And if I see you fucking up, I'm gonna be like, yo, you kind of bugging out right now. Like you like, especially with my brother, like I know their goals. So if I see them not going towards what their goals are, I'm like, bro, what the fuck are you doing? That's not gonna get you where you said you want to go. Like, and then at the end of the day, if niggas got an attitude, I got an attitude too. Come see me. We can fight about it.
And you won't win. That's what you're and you won't win.
See, they're fighting to get an opportunity to hit me. I'm fighting for the fun of it. That's what scares them.
I love the game.
I'm here for the vibes. You're here because you don't want to feel the pain.
Yeah,
I'm not scared of getting hit.
Exactly. I remember in the crib, I just walked by my little brother. I stand over here. Remember, you a little bitch when I'm here. All right.
Remember
that. You set the dominance. You remember that? All right. When I'm around here,
I love fucking
I'm
with the
big
niggas,
dog. You remember
bro.
that?
But with the
I start annoying them in their ears, making sounds. Niggas be like, "Yo, can you shut the fuck up?" I'm like, "What? What?" And then my mom comes in, I'm like, "Okay, my bad, my bad. I've been gone too long."
Yeah.
But like the overarching theme with like the whole with like his whole story, or like the 6 main points that I got, was that it's like the over policing and the racism and the legal system stacked against immigrant children when they get here, the limited access to certain opportunity that pushes people towards like gang involvement in certain issues, the media stereotypes that paint black, especially African immigrants, as like disposable or damaged goods. Because I saw like a snippet of like the news story that came out of the whole situation, and I'm watching it and I'm like, if I didn't know any better, I would have played right into it. Like the way they made it seem like these kids are like damn near carrying 5 AK-47s at all hand, and these are like damn near the worst people on the planet. I'm like, not really it.
I mean, yeah. The thing is, though, one of the great quotes I heard was like, something that says the history is rewritten by the victorious. So it's like, or like, the hunter, what's it called? It would be a it would be a completely different story if a lion got to be able to tell the story about what happened with them and the hunter or something like that. And it's like, a lot of white people, they control the narrative about like Africans or black people in a sense. And it's one of those things that is like, look, because when people talk about crime is not a race thing. It's a, what's it called? I don't have it, but I need to feed myself or the people that I have around me. So I'm gonna find a way to get it. Whether it's selling drugs, whether I'm gonna rob you, whether it's like you got it, I don't, I'm coming to take it from you. So it's like desperation makes people do some crazy shit. And for us, that's crazy to fathom because it's like we've never been put in that position. But there are people where it's like all they know is like, not having anything. So not having anything causes people to go into the crime life in a sense, or the lack of opportunity to do something better for themselves. So it's like it's easy to paint a narrative of like, why can't these people do this for themselves? But you give somebody nothing and expect them to get everything. It doesn't make no sense. Like the whole concept of pull yourself up by your own bootstraps. I'm like, that's the dumbest shit ever. I'm like, white people didn't pull themselves up by the bootstraps. They got government subsidized loans. They got opportunities that made it easier for them to think. They had a 400-year.
Or they robbed people.
Yeah, I'm like, they're the biggest thieves on this earth. I'm like, rob, kill, steal, rape and pillage, and they celebrate Christopher Columbus like he a god. They call it manifest fucking destiny. Imagine you come into my crib and then you talk about, all right, we gonna repaint the walls, we gonna move that over there, and then why? Because God said so. God ain't say no bullshit like that.
You savage!
You savage! I'm here to help you.
While killing them niggas.
While killing you, we like kill you, rape you, take your stuff, and then be like, you can't work for shit. You don't do anything for yourself.
Yeah, you're lazy.
You're just lazy.
You're useless. Like,
holy, you're useless.
Let's go bring the black people. You guys are dying from all diseases. What?
Weak.
Literally.
So I have two quick and easy questions that we're closing out the episode with. I mean, I enjoy myself this episode. I think we had some great discussions. I don't know about y'all folks, but I have just two questions and some sub questions to help you think about it. I'm gonna ask, give the sub questions, and I'm gonna answer, and then give you guys some time to think about it. All right. So the first question I have here after doing all this research is like, what does it mean to owe your life to someone else's sacrifice, right? And that's with the subconscious of like guilt and gratitude. Is success ever enough to like repay that debt? And how is identity forged between like obligation and self-expression? And the notes I have here is that like when you owe your life to someone else's sacrifice, I feel like you're kind of free, but you're kind of in debt at the same time. The freedom comes from the ability to be like, okay, I've now, because of somebody else's sacrifice, I'm now able to create and speak and exist in safer and prosperous conditions than I was back then. Because let's both keep it a buck. As bad as America is, if we have the option to go back, I don't think we take that, at least at this stage in our lives. I know we all agree on that one. So I feel like in context of like Dave's story, if you think about it, it's like an immigrant mom working multiple jobs or doing all of this. Dave was able to be who he is today because of like the suffering and the silence that his mom endured to be able to get him into this position, right? And then I feel like this whole narrative is what can shape someone's identity. Because on one hand, you like carry like a fierce gratitude, where it's like you want to honor that person's sacrifice. You don't have a like you think about it and you go, okay, I would never be here without that person's effort. So how do I not make them regret this decision? But at the same time, you can't necessarily live your entire life trying to please this individual. You can't live your entire life being like, oh, I have to do this, I have to do that, because I feel like you fall into your own kind of emotional problems doing that way, right? So it's like it's always a choice between, oh my god, like is the what I'm doing. Like for example, if I wanted to become like let's say I quit my job today and became like a podcaster full time. In my head, I'm gonna be, is that really honoring what my mom did? Like I'm always gonna be stuck. You're always gonna be stuck between that whole, is what I'm doing pleasing the person that is supposed to please. I feel like that is like necessarily hard for some people to conceptualize that and realize that it's okay to be happy on your own and not have to be like, it's not, you don't have to be that way for a certain person. But at the same time, I feel like you have the responsibility, regardless of what you do, to uphold a certain standard so that you don't diminish that sacrifice. Like nobody's asking you to be like a lawyer, a doctor, and do it, but don't be a bum. Don't do that either. Like actively work on something that you're passionate about, or you actively put in work in. And I feel like that's the only way you don't diminish that sacrifice. So it's not necessarily it's not necessarily like a direct path to, you have to do this, you have to do that, but hold yourself to a standard where that sacrifice does not go to waste.
I see what you're saying. Like you don't want your parents to sacrifice everything to get you in a better situation for you to go back -1. You know what I mean? Right? But then again, also you gotta, for me personally, like thank you for your sacrifice. I know you want me to be successful and not have to work or suffer as much as you did, right? So knowing that, I will do what I want to do with that in mind, right? And I'll take care of you. That's it. Everything else, you did what you did because that was your choice to do for your family. You wanted a better life for your family. Now I'm gonna go and get the better life and help you as well. I'm not here with the expectation of what you have a dream of. Cool, you got the dream. Great, I got the dream too. I gotta go after my dreams now, right? And also, you're gonna get to a point where you're gonna also have to sacrifice things for the people that come after you. So at the end of the day, you're an individual, no matter what. Once you grow up and you start moving out, you get a job, you're an individual. You have to pave your own path in the world. You just have to make sure you don't regress past or to the point where your parents were trying to get you out of. You know what I mean? That's it. Because then you're gonna have to basically start the cycle all over, where you try to get the next person out of the situation that your parents try to get you out of, and then it's like, what are we doing here? That's the whole thing. That's it for me. I don't, the whole, oh, you sacrifice all this, so I'm gonna do this, and this because you wanted this, and that. Yeah, yeah. We don't have to agree on the path to the end goal, right? But as long as I get to the end goal and I'm not, selling crack or something, for me personally, that's my own personal rule. Like selling crack or something, some people see it differently. Some people see it differently.
James St. Patrick, nigga.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Some people see it differently.
They say this is a big rich town.
Some people think money's money. So,
What's your take on it, bro?
I mean, yeah, same thing as Quasi said, to be honest with you. It's like, listen, I appreciate the sacrifices, but it's like, it's one of those things also where it's, because it's like, I hate when people hold things over my head. That's the quickest way to lose me. Like, I don't care what you did now. Fuck you.
I'll self-sabotage so bad.
I will really fuck you. I'll really fuck
so
you.
So bad.
Now I'll purposely just fuck up shit just so that you can get mad. You know
Not
what?
Even on purpose. I just do it subconsciously. And I'm like, damn, am I fucking this shit up?
Honestly, Quasi too, bro. Like, now that you, bro, I realized this about myself about like 2 months ago. Like certain shit about there's certain things in my personal life I self-sabotage, and I'm like,
yep,
I was doing so good a week ago. Why the fuck did I do that?
Yeah,
and you know what I mean. And you realize like sometimes you self-sabotage. I don't understand the concept of myself with that. I'm still working on it. Whereas like now, there's like when I catch myself doing that, I'm like, come on, let's go. You gotta get up. Come on, let's go. But yeah, no, like people like, because that's my thing. I literally said that before. I'm like, I can't be friends with people who, like, let's say they send you, they give you money and they throw it back in your face. Like, remember what I gave you this money, brother? Keep the money. Don't ever talk to me again. I need
I'll pay back with interest.
interest on top, so that you could never say a word to me again. So that
Speaking of
thing,
money, y'all niggas
you
owe me
still
money.
$20, nigga. Shut up. He said, I made that back, bro.
Since sixth grade, nigga.
I made that basket, bro.
Yeah.
You gotta pay me, nigga.
I don't know why you gave us money. Think you were gonna get it back in 6th grade.
Nah, I didn't
But
give
that
niggas
way-
money. I just made a bet with y'all.
Yeah, he said
About
you
what was the
owe me
bet?
money. The bet was I could make this from a basket. I still remember this to this day.
I
was
could make this paper ball into the trash can. I never said I'm gonna stand here and shoot it.
I said,
Nigga just agreed.
Oh!
I just walked up and threw it in.
I was like, bro, I'm not giving you shit.
Niggas mad cause I won. Like,
I was like, I don't care.
nah.
my
The
hand-
moment that
fight me
day that
about
shit
it.
happened, I was like, I'm never gonna forget this shit.
I was like, yeah.
Niggas
I was
owe
like,
me money.
remember it.
In my head, we were paying $20 to see a shot. I wasn't gonna pay anyway, but
It was
it is what
Oh,
it
of course,
is.
niggas were not gonna pay.
It was in
Nigga, we
philosophy.
didn't even have
Have
20
20
on
I
us.
remember. It was in philosophy.
Yeah.
I remember. I remember exactly.
So the last
I'm still
question,
at an interest, nigga.
Mhm.
the last question of the episode, that I have here is that can someone truly escape a system that they were born into, or do their roots follow them? I.e., faith and free will, structural inequality, and the illusion of mediocrity, and how much our lives are shaped by our environment, our race, and our class. And the answer I have here is that,
That was a lot.
like,
Can
just
you
I get the
Can you-
gist.
it's like
Can you
the
just
this is the
about-
question. The question is, can someone truly escape a system that they were born into, or do their roots always follow them? And these are
Okay.
sub questions to just help you think about it. So it's like, think about like between faith and free will, structural inequality, or how much our lives are shaped by our environment, our race, and our class. And what I wrote here is that, like, escape, like, there's I don't believe in such thing as like you escape, right? Whether they're economic, whether they're racial, or whether they're cultural, like, they shape every sense of like your self-worth, your fear, and your, like, any possibility that you have, right? And if you take Dave for example, he's escaped the physical realities of poverty and incarceration that were shaped into his family. These are kind of like his roots, but he kind of carries the psychological and the cultural imprint on those systems, and it's very evident because if you look at any music that he did coming up, that's all his music is for. It's just like pain and suffering. It's very rare you see a Dave song, and the only time you really saw, like, the first time I saw a song where it was like it was not pain driven, was Clash with Stormzy. That was the first song I ever heard, and that was like pretty deep into his career where he was already well established. So I think, but he carries that with him. But like, people, when you think about people saying like your roots are like still with you, people always see that as failure, and I don't think that's like the failure. I think that's the truth. Roots, in a sense, are just like roots in a situation are just not something that's a failure, but just things that you don't allow to hold you back. But they're also, in a sense, will hold you together as a person because they're what makes your identity who you are, right?
Yep.
So I think the philosophical trap that people fall into is that thinking that when you escape, it means you like leave everything behind, or like you like it's like a detachment. But like, I don't think maybe that's like the real form of what like escape means in a sense. It's like maybe the real form is like you transcend into something it's like a transformation into something different. So I don't necessarily think that you can like necessarily let go of your past, or you can like escape your so-called roots, but I do heavily believe that you can grow in a direction where those roots don't necessarily hold you back.
Yeah, I feel like, what's it called? What's the word for it? Intersectionality. Intersectionality. Yeah, that's the word. Like, it's basically like it's just layers on layers on layers on layers on layers. Like, that's why it's like there's a lot of things in life. It's not black and white. It's gray. So I was like, yes, you can escape that environment, but also the things that it made you, like, it says if there's certain things that made you, like, the roots always stick with you. Now throughout the years you can learn and change it as you go ahead. There's certain things about yourself like you may not like, but also the system also too depends on who you are as a person. like for example, as like being a black person, and let's say you're in white corporate America, in a sense, there's certain things like you as an individual, you just can't do because that's just what it is. Like for example, like for example, I realize this like being in corporate America as a black person, as a black man, like you kind of got to dim your light in a sense because you're just seen as like, oh, aggressive, or as like if you're sitting down quietly, oh, you don't seem friendly, or you should smile more, or you should do this in a sense, or it's like if you have a disagreement, you're being seen as argumentative, or you're being seen as like somebody, because that's what my manager describes me as all the time. But it's like, here's the thing, like let's just say you like apple, I like orange juice. His first thing he's gonna say is, why are you arguing with me? I literally had to tell him, I'm like, yo, bro, why is every time I disagree with something, you sitting out here talking to me about arguing? Nigga, I'm not arguing with you, I just disagree. Well, if me being disagree makes me combative and argumentative, that's just the way it is. I'm like, me, here's my thing. I don't care about being seen as a good person, or what's it called thing. So I like, and I make this public. I don't care. I'm like, yo, listen. If I'm like, listen, I told him this. I'm like, yo, if you think me disagreeing with you is me being combative or me being thing, so be it. That take me as that then, because I'm not gonna sit here and then try to convince you that that's not what my purpose is. But it's like you realize it's like, as a black person, there's some certain things that's what you're seen as. And it's like I've talked to other black people and like in the same industry I'm in, they're like, yo, bro, like sometimes I feel like I can't say anything because they feel like, oh, I'm trying to attack them, when really no, it's just your point. You know what I mean? So it's one of those things where it's like, yes, you can escape it, but if you're in a system that's not built for you to it wasn't made for you, and then you're just a guest coming in. That's what it is, honestly, living in America sometimes. It's like you're just a guest. So as a guest, it's like sometimes it's like, nigga, you overstaying your welcome. Certain things you do as a guest is like, what? Why are you doing that? You can't. Or do this, is like, oh, do this, and then it's always some sort of commentary about it. But it's like at the end of the day though, it's what's it called? That's my answer to that question, to be honest.
Quasi, closes out, broski.
I agree. Nah.
He said, all right, close out. That's it.
No, but yeah. I agree with what you both said, basically. It's like, to a certain point, it's like, yeah, you like Ibra said, right? Going corporate life. You you're in it. You know the rules on paper, but you don't know the sub rules. You don't know in between the lines. You gotta basically go through the growing pains to see what's in between the lines. And once you know what's in between the lines, even then there's more stuff in between the lines.
Yes.
So, and also like growing up, your situation shapes your mentality, shapes the way you see the world, shapes the way you want to proceed with your life, right? And once you see yourself as successful, no matter what you do, whatever situation you grew up in shaped you to become what you are. You could deny it, you could try to run away from it, you could try to change it, but roots are what fed you to become who you are. Like trees, the roots basically dig down, hunker you down, shape your mindset, shape your views and everything. You trying to run away from it, you try and deny it, whatever, is kind of disrespectful to the situation you came from. Because in a sense, if that never happened, you won't be you. You wouldn't have been you. Accept and embrace what you are, but you don't have to basically like, yeah. You're like, I was gonna. You don't have to basically just obviously regress or come with all the baggage or negativity that you grew up in. You basically went all the experiences you came from. Yes, you could branch out. You could branch out, make new routes that overcome the old ones. Yeah, bring in the new and keep going, right? So it's like, but just going out and be like, yo, that's not who I am. I'm not from the hood. I'm not this. I'm not this. My dad didn't used to beat my mom. What? crack. Psh, I've never seen that. Ugh, black people. Like at the end of the day, you grew up in that. That's like literally trying to cut off a part of yourself, right? And then at a certain point, are you really living your truth? Are you really like you're lying to yourself? You're lying to people around you, and morally, I mean, everyone's different, but me personally, I can't do that. I will embrace it, but I ain't gonna tell you like, yo, my family was slinging crack, you know? Like, I'm not gonna tell you that. I'll keep that shit to myself till I die. But I'm not gonna be like, I'm not gonna see another crackhead and look down on them. Like, I've seen the situation that basically led you to start taking the whatever drugs you were taking. I've seen people. I've seen you literally saw people suffer. So at the end of the day, it's like looking down on someone after seeing what caused their family member to be that is like, you know. But hey, let me say this: I do not know anyone that does crack. It was just an example I was
We
giving.
believe you. We believe you.
No, but I got to talk to
You
the
gotta convince
audience.
us.
I
Yes.
got to tell they don't know.
So
Talking about slinging
exploring
crack and all
or
that.
watching or listening to stuff about his life throughout the week, I learned a lot, and that's why he's low-key my favorite artist, because I feel like he, at least, is one of the very few artists where it's like I'm not, like I don't make music to like it's not like bullshit music, you know, like it's like it has meaning behind it.
It's
So
real.
what's up?
Honestly, hear me out. Hear me out. Sometimes I just need bullshit music, though. I'm sorry.
Hellcats, SRTs.
You can't get that about me. Listen, hear me out. Hear me out, though. Like, when I was younger, I used to listen to Dave all the time. Like, I listen to Dave still from time to time, but not as heavy as I used to.
No.
Why? I don't want to hear about just some sad shit. I'm sorry. I want to be happy. I want to be in a good mood.
No.
Like, bro, like, nowadays, bro,
So you fucking up the vibe.
you fucking up the vibes, bro. I'm sorry. I'm trying to have a good day, a good time. You talking to me about your depression, bro? I'm sorry. I want to hear this. You know, I want to hear it.
I
Listen,
still listen to
listen,
Dave.
that song "Heart Attack." If you play it right now, I can go word for word for word. But now, it's like the last time I played Dave was a minute ago. Still will go to the concert, but still,
his new music is like you could tell like he's overcoming that. Like the new stuff is like you don't hear him rap about depression and stuff like that. But like
he rich. He got
He
to deal with his issues now.
he said life is so hard. He says I gotta walk 10 miles to get to my neighbor. I said that's a bar. That's a bar.
He's
I
got
was
100 eaters
Mm-hmm.
in the back of a Sprinter.
So that's why he's my favorite artist. Like I'm someone that enjoys music through lyrics. So it was like kind of, but I just enjoyed like the fact that his story just like traced back into like the historical context behind it, and then like the applicable meaning now.
Now, when he said what on what's his Sprinter? No, was it on the song Sprinter? He said I love dealing with broke bitches because you buy fly them out and they think it's the greatest.
I love broke bitches. I love dealing with broke bitches because you booked them one flight and they're all impressed. That was Sprinter.
Yeah, and then it's like it's so funny because it's like we all be talking about I'd never fly out a girl. It's like to these guys, it's like, bro, this is pocket change. This ain't even pocket.
Yeah,
this is
bro,
just
that's like $2.
that's like $2. He's like, bro, I'll fly a girl out anywhere. He's like, put her on the first plane. He's like, first what's it called?
First class.
First class. Yeah, put her on first class and come over to me, man. He's like, this ain't no big deal to me.
They're all impressed. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode. I enjoyed researching it throughout the week. Hope y'all enjoyed the conversation. Let us know if there are any other artists that have a good history that we could evolve to. Let us know if you want to see more of these history segments. We could definitely cook up some of those more. But without any further ado, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.